With audio.
অডিওটা এইভাবে অন থাকবে তো?
না না অডিওটা
কি মজা আগে ছেড়ে দিলে হ্যাঁ
আমার ভিডিও করে আপলোড প্রোফাইল অন আছে नहीं ऑन ड्रॉप ऑफ हो गया
स्टार्ट में भी किया हुआ लेकिन हो गया कर दे सर अली सर अरे
नॉन नहीं हो रहा मेरा वीडियो
देख लीजिए आप
ना सीखी ना
तो सही तो है सर
अरे थोड़ा के बाद
स्टार्ट कर दो
ठीक है
Lot of thanks all the participants and my colleagues and the teachers of the Santpal Senior Secondary School. Today, as a resource person, IMSUMENLA ma'am will deliver the speech about the learning and teaching methodology. So through this teaching and learning methodology, we will learn much more things about this. How can I manage the class through this technology? So I will call to deliver something about the teaching and learning methodology by IMSUMENLA. Okay, and come and say something about it.
Thank you, RG sir, for this time. And respected our school principal, managing faculty, principal in charge, and my dear colleagues. A very good morning to you all. I'm indeed very privileged. I'm indeed very privileged to be as a host today. I also thank the program organizers for giving me this opportunity. So my today's topic will be teaching and learning styles. So where's the screen? First topic, I have to explain. Already
This is topic now.
yeah,
Teaching
I
learning.
told.
And this is the second page here.
I have to keep.
You can click on here. Yeah, that is only the second page.
So today's topic will be based on learning styles and teaching. So under this, there will be certain types of topic. That is, we will learn about learning styles, how their originations, why should teachers know about learning styles, what types of learning styles are there, and what teaching methods and activities suit different learning styles. So these are the topics we are going to discuss today. So let's learn what is a learning style. So according to Ellis in the year 1985, he described a learning style as a more or less consistent way in which a person perceives, conceptualizes, organizes, and recalls information. So we all know that each person's or a learner has his or her own individual way of gathering and processing informations and solving problems in our day-to-day life. So in such cases, it is the learning, it is the knowledge of one's learning styles, okay, which can lead to enhance learning, and it helps the learner focus on improving weaker points. Besides these, learning styles also, it is also useful for informing the teaching and learning process, and it can be used as a tool to enhance achievement. So it is the learning styles which enables us to achieve our designation. And next we have, where do learning styles come from? Yes, so let us study this. Your students' learning styles will be influenced by, number one, their genetic makeup, number two, their previous learning experience, number three, their culture, and number four, the society they live in. So students' learning styles, it is greatly influenced by genetic makeup. Let us study how it is influenced. So genes can sometimes contain conflicting informations, and in most cases, one gene will win the battle for dominance. For example, like if a child has one tall parents and one short parents, the child may end up splitting differences by being of average height. So genetic makeup, it has great influence on the learning styles of students. The second point is their previous learning experiences. So even the previous learning experiences, it influences the students, and even their culture. Culture and learning are connected in important ways. They are connected in important ways. So culture not only affects the expectations of the students, but it also affects the process of learning. So they go hand in hand. So that is how culture influences the students in different learning styles. Next, the students also they are also influenced by the society they live in, the society in which they live in. Like we all know that society builds a strong foundations for each and every one of us. So and society helps us to create an identity of being who we are. So it is the society that influence the students in in developing their mentality. Social institutions such as media, education, government, family, religions, all have a significant impact on a person's identity. So next, Is number 4. Yes. The next topic is, why should teachers know about learning styles? Why is it necessary being a teacher to know about the learning styles? So here is a definition given by David Off and Vandenberg, 1990. So they suggested 4 steps for assisting the students. So the steps are: number 1, plan, ditch or egg, observe, and reflect. So these are the steps. These are the steps suggested by our scholar David Off and Vandenberg. Let us see what are the guidelines. Here are some guidelines for each step. Number 1, students learn better and more quickly if the teaching methods used match their preferred learning style. So students, they get to learn better and more quickly if the teaching methods that we use match their preferred learning styles, because it is very necessary being a teacher to determine the learning styles of each student. Now, in order to provide information about the specific preference, in order to instill the knowledge, it is very necessary being a teacher to study the learning styles by providing information about the specific preference, and also it also helps them to make it easier to create, modify, and learn better. It enables the students to learn better in a very specific way. So it is very necessary being a teacher to understand and use the teaching method according to the students. Next, we have second topic, that is, as learning improves, so as self-esteem. This has a further positive effect on learning. Even our self-esteem, okay, it has positive effect on learning. For example, like self-esteem or our confidence can have a marked effect on academic performance on students. Like if the students lack confidence, or if the students have low self-esteem, then what happens to the students? The students, they try to hide themselves from their peer friends, and like they decided to seclude themselves, isolate themselves. So it is necessary being a teacher to motivate them to develop their positive self-esteem, because it is only the positive self-esteem, okay, which helps in building the blocks of schools, and it provides a firm foundations for learning. So it is necessary for a teacher to instill such kind of positive self-esteem in the students. Next, we have the student-teacher relationship can improve because the students is more successful and is more interested in learning. So the relationship between teacher and the students is very important. Like it is an essential part, because establishing a positive relationship with the teachers, it helps our students feel more comfortable and safe in their classroom environment. Like it opens a way for the students. So it is necessary, and as a result, what happened to the students? The students are more likely to participate actively in the class and challenge themselves academically. Like they started to compete themselves without any hesitation. So it is necessary to develop the students-teacher relationship, because it improved the students like in their academic, not only in their academic curriculars, but like it enables the students to participate in the classroom activities. Next, we have what type of learning styles are there? So here we will learn about the types of learning styles. So there are many ways of learning styles. Okay, there are many ways of learning styles. Here are some of the classification systems that researchers have developed. So mainly we'll find 4 types of learning styles. They are the 4 modelites. Number 2, the field, that is independent versus dependent students. Next is left brain dominant students versus right brain dominant students. Number 4, we have MC Cardi 4 learning styles. So let us go on to the next. We'll discuss this in detail. Huh? So first, we'll go on with the first topic, that is the 4 modalities. So what are these 4 modalities? Here, the students may prefer visual, auditory, kinesthetic, tactile way of learning. Now, in such cases, the students may prefer visual types of learning, auditory, like auditory learning, kinesthetic, and tactile. Visual learners. Let us study who are these visual learners. So, visual learners are those who prefer visual learning style, like by seeing. They get to learn. Let us see how they observe the teachers and how they learn through seeing. So the first point is the visual learners to look at the teacher's face intently. By looking at the face of the teachers, to get to learn. And they also like looking at walls, display, books, etc. Such learners, they are more interested at wall displays, pasting postures on the wall or books, etc. And they often recognize words by sight. So whatever we're demonstrating, that is how they recognize through the sight. And also like they use lists to organize their thoughts. This kind of learners, this kind of students, they use lists. They make a list and organize in a way. They make use of the list to organize their thoughts, and they also recall informations by remembering how it was set out on a page. Recollecting the information by remembering how it was set out on a page. So these visual learners, like, they observe things by seeing. Next, we have auditory learners. Let us study who are these auditory learners. So these auditory learners, they prefer an auditory learning style. Like the teachers, they like the teachers to provide verbal instructions. So they like rather than seeing, they mostly go for verbal instruction, verbally, like instructing them verbally or assigning them verbally. And they like dialogues, discussion, and play. Such kind of learners, they like dialogues and discussions. They like to discuss among with their co-friends, among with their friends, and they likes to play. And then such kind of learners, they also solve problem by talking about them. They tackle the problems by talking among themselves, by sharing among their friends. That is how the auditory learners does. And they use rhythm and sound as memory aids. Like they are mostly fond of like creating music. Next, we have kinesthetic learners. Let us see who are these kinesthetic learners. So, kinesthetic learners, they are like those who prefer kinesthetic learning styles. They learn best when they are involved or active. So, such kind of students, they learn best when they are involved or active. Like we find, like in our day-to-day, like activities, we find some students are restless, right? So such kind of students, like they involve, okay, they learn best when they're involved for active, and they also find it difficult to sit still for long periods. So this is the reason why we find different kinds of students in our class. So we have, it is our part to define what kind of students they are. Okay, in such way we can analyze the students, and we can help them better. And such kind of students, they use movements as a memory eye, like they use movement, like instead of verbally speaking, they use their movement to answer to the question, or they remain, they keep on moving. So such kind of students are known as kinesthetic learners. Let's go on with tactile learners. Let's see who are these tactile learners. So those who prefer a tactile way of learning, they use writing and drawing as memory eyes. So these learners, they prefer writing rather than speaking, or rather than like such kind of activities. They are more tend to write. So they use writing and drawing as a memory aids, and then they learn well in hands-on activities like projects and demonstrations. They are much active in project works, or like to demonstrate. So such kind of students are tactile learners. So next we have left brain dominated versus right brain dominated. Let's study who are these left brain dominated and right brain dominated students. Okay, so students who are left brain dominated, they are intellectual. So it is said that students who are left brain dominated, okay, they are intellectual, which means left brain people are said to be more logical. They are more logical, and and rather than like creative. Whereas the students who are right brain dominated, they are initiative, which means they possess creativity. The right brain people are said to be more creative than the left brain dominated students. Next is the left brain dominated students process information in a linear way. They collect information in a linear way, which means from part to whole, like they analyze in such a way until they find the answers. And the text pieces, lines them up and arrange them in a logical orders. The left brain dominated child, how to they arrange certain kind of questions, they arrange in a proper way and in a very logical way. Okay, and whereas the right brain dominated, they process informations in a holistic way. This left brain dominated, they process informations in a holistic way, which means from the whole to a part holistically. Okay, the right brain dominated process from a whole to a part holistically, and the left brain dominated children, they tend to be objective. They tend to be more objective rather than subjective. Whereas the right brain dominated children, they prefer elusive, uncertain informations, which means a person who is a left brain, they tend to be objective. Okay, which means more logical and analytical. They analyze the situation, they analyze the questions given by the mentors. Whereas the right brain dominated people, dominated person, they are said to be thoughtful and subjective. Like it does not, they are just opposite. Next, left brain dominated, they prefer establish certain information. They prefer collecting informations, whereas the right brain dominated person, They rely on drawings and manipulating to help them think and learn. So these are the difference between the left brain dominant students and the right brain dominant students. Left brain dominant students, they rely on language in thinking and remembering. Such students work well with a daily task life. See, left brain dominant person, they rely on language in thinking and remembering, like whereas these right brain dominant, they rely on memorizing. They are good in memory powers, whereas the left brain, they are good in logical analysis. Like they are not much into memorize. However, they analyze in their mind. They use logical types of way of communicating, whereas this right brain dominant person, like mostly like they are creative and they are very good in memory, memorizing certain kind of topics. Like, and these left brain dominant students, whenever teachers assign them something, like they tend to be critics in class and consider themselves naturally good at maths or science. We will find that such kind of students, that left brain dominant students, we will find that mostly they are good in maths or science, whereas this right brain dominant person, they are good at arts and sports. So that is how we can easily define the student's nature. And mostly the right brain dominant person, they are able to memorize words or lyrics easily. Like it is more easier for the right brain dominant person to memorize certain kinds of script. Number 12. Okay. We have the next topic, that is MC Cardy's 4 learning styles. Let us learn what are MC Cardy's 4 learning styles. So MC Cardy in 1980, he describes students as innovative learners, analytic learners, and command sense learners or dynamic learners. So these are the 4 points described by MC Cardy's. So first, let us go on with innovative learners. So who are these innovative learners? So these innovative learners, they look for personal meaning while learning. Okay. Whereas analytic learners, they want to develop intellectually while learning. So these are some differences between innovative learners and analytic learners. Innovative learners, they draw on their values while learning, while analytic learners, they draw on facts while learning. Their learning is based on factual things, whereas innovative, they draw on their values while learning. Innovative learners enjoy social interaction, like they like to socialize with people, with the outer world, whereas analytic learners, they are patient and reflective. Innovative learners are cooperative. We will find that innovative learners are cooperative, whereas analytic learners, they want to know important things and want to add to the world's knowledge. They keep on examining, analytic learners. Whereas innovative learners, they want to make the world a better place. So these are some differences between innovative learners and analytical learners suggested by MC Cardy's. Next, we have command sense learners and dynamic learners. So let us see the differences between command sense learners and dynamic learners, how the students use to tackle situations or to tackle questions. So command sense learners, they want to find solution. Instead of running away from the given task, they want to find solutions. whereas dynamic learners, they look for hidden possibilities. And then common sense learners, they value things if they are useful. They value things, okay, if they find it is useful, whereas dynamic learners, they judge things by reaction. They judge things by seeing by observing. By observation, they judge things. Common sense learners are kinesthetic, which means they are movable, like they are very restless. Whereas dynamic learners, they synthesize information from different sources, which means dynamic learners, they collect materials from different kind of sources. Common sense learners, they want to make things happen. So they want to make things happen, whereas dynamic learners, they are enthusiastic and adventurous. So these are some difference between common sense learners and dynamic learners. Next, we have what teaching methods and activities suits different learning styles. So how teaching methods and activities like varies from students to students. Like how teachers should apply according to the students. What kind of teaching methods should we apply while initiating the students? Let us see. Field independent versus field dependent. So in this criteria, we will find two types of students, that is field independent, that's independent students, versus field dependent. Okay, so in field independent, let students work on some activities on their own. So in such cases, okay, in such cases, we have to make students work on some activities on their own, by creating their own ideas. We have to provide activities to the students. Why? Because this supports students' educational system. It supports students to develop. It also helps the students to enhance understanding skills and effectiveness in a specific area. It helps the students to develop their overall background, education. It helps students to develop. So teachers should give them activities to the students, to solve it in their own way. Next, field dependent. So in these criteria, being a teacher, we should let the students work on some activities in pairs and small groups. So in this dependent, we have to give assignment to the students or activities in pairs by breaking them up into different groups, because giving students real choice in their classroom having to do with the materials they study, okay, the assignment they complete, the peers with whom they work can boost their engagement and motivations, and it allows them to capitalize on their strength. Not only this, by engaging with their fellow friends, okay, the students, it motivates them and it enables them to meet their individual learning needs. So these are very useful in tackling students. Next, we have what methods and activities suit different learning styles. So let us go on with this, the four modalities. So what are the learning methods and activities suit different styles? So the four modalities to this: visual, visual. So for visuals, we have to use many visuals in the classroom. So to tackle such kind of students, we have to use visual activities in the classroom. For example, wall displays, poster, relia, flashcards, graphic organizers, etc. So in order tackle such kind of students, like we have to use different kind of teaching method, like by displaying wall posters, or like just some different kinds of activities and auditory. For this, we need to use audio tapes and videos, storytellings, songs, jazz chants, memorizations, and trials. And we should also allow the learners to work in peers and small groups regularly. So in this auditory, we have to use different kind of techniques, different kind of videos in order to enable the students to learn in an effective way. Kinesthetic, like here we have to use physical activities, like competitions, board games, role plays, etc. We have to engage the students in physical activities now. And then in this first activities, which requires students to sit quietly with activities that allow them to move around and be active now. In this, we have to engage the students to move around and active and become an active learner. Next, we have tactile. Here we have to use what kind of teaching methods should apply here. We have to use board and card games, demonstrations by giving demonstrations, projecting and role plays, like, and then use while listening and reading activities. For example, ask students to fill in a table while listening to a talk, or to level a diagram while reading. So here we have to ask the students. So in such way, students will be more successful if we apply it in our day-to-day life. If we apply it in imparting knowledge to the students, okay, it will enable them to learn in an effective way. Your students will be more successful if you match your teaching styles to their learning style. Like, we're just summarizing what we learned. So students will be more successful if we match our teaching styles to the learning styles. Okay, so students, students will be more successful if we match our teaching styles to the learning styles. And then, like, if you vary the activities that you use in your lesson, you're sure to cater for learners with different learning styles at least some of the time. So the classroom I've been making ketemu right now. It's fine. Okay. Yes, dear teachers, I have an information to be announced. Like, if the link goes away, you have to rejoin it. Due to some technical issues, we have to do this. So in case if the link goes away, please rejoin it. Okay. So if you were, what is this? How is going on, sir? So if you vary the activities that you use in your lessons, you're sure to cater your learners with different learning styles at least some of the time. This means the classroom activities, okay, the way we interact, okay, with the learners, okay, and motivate them to learn new ideas and help them to attain academic success. So the classroom activity is very important for a student. Why? Because it not only